Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. So guys, let's talk about evil people. There are actually evil people out there in the world. You know? There are evil people walking among us every day. A lot of times you think evil people, you think of people, when I think of an evil person, it's like I would think of the people we read about in the newspapers. The one who does the grand finale. They do something really horrible. We read about it. We can't believe it. It could be, a parent takes out the entire family and themselves, or the children, or just all the horrors that we read about or we see. But guys, there are people who are evil who have done none of those things. They're just very sneaky about it. Now, I have to be fair in saying, if someone has a bad attitude, that doesn't mean they're evil. If someone may be selfish, it doesn't make them evil. Maybe your neighbor across the street who's mean and doesn't like to talk to you, that doesn't make them evil, because human beings are comprised of so many little quirks and dispositions. In one area where you're better, another person, you may be weak. Let's say you may be stronger in one way, but then you're weak in another way. That person who's not so great is stronger than you, So it's like we all have our pros and cons. However, these are individuals who are very different. And a lot of times you're going to sense them before you really figure them out. You're going to feel, in my opinion, at least for me, I'm very discerning, but human beings, we have an ability, a way to sense things, okay? But a lot of times what happens is this person or these individuals, they're going to present themselves a certain way. They're going to hide themselves. They hide in plain sight. And they come across as, the guidance counselor, the gardener, the good guy, the church person, the teacher, a parent, a good person in the community. They have something that they maintain, the facade management. And oftentimes it's going to be hard for these people to be discovered, and only a few people will be able to discern and pick up on them. There'll just be something weird about them, something odd about them. And again, I'm not talking about someone that just they're quiet, they don't talk a lot. You can feel like something isn't right. Even when you're trying to talk to them and have a normal conversation, you can feel something is off. These individuals are, in my opinion, evil people normally are a product of hurt. Somebody in their lives either hurt them, rejected them, neglected them, abused them. Okay? Now, not all individuals that experience this stuff or have been individuals who actually went through things like that means that they're going to become evil. But there are those other individuals who those things happen to them, and at some point in their life they make a decision that no one else is ever going to do this to me. And so what they start to do is the hate and the resentment that they may feel for their abusers or those individuals who mistreated them or the individuals who rejected them. Because sometimes it's not necessarily abuse. Sometimes they felt rejected. They were not invited to certain things. They begin to harbor feelings. That is why it's so important, guys, that you do not allow yourself to just sit and think about a bunch of evil and all the bad things that happen in your life, because it is going to change you. And before you know it, you're thinking so much about the bad things and the evil and all that others have done to you that you are going to miss out on individuals that are actually kind. As a matter of fact, you'll be so full of hate and vitriol for these individuals who have done things and the things that you feel that is unfair, that you turn into those people and worse. Did you know the more you hate someone, a lot of times you become that person because you're so fixated on them and what they did, and you want to justify how you feel, and you put it over and over and again in your head of what they did and what they said. It does something to you. And a lot of times people who are mean and bitter and just horrible to people, they will tell you about somebody that did something to them. But I don't know if they realize that they've become that person and maybe worse. Have you ever heard of, let's say we have the mass shootings and things that have happened, right? And then this person has a story about their childhood, who treated them badly, and the parent that wasn't there, and their parents were on drugs, and this person did this, and this person wasn't there for them, and all this stuff, and who abused them. And you're wondering, what does that have to do with the 15 people that you took out? Because now these individuals have become worse than whatever the parents did. It's like, okay, your parents did that. That was horrible. But now you are like 100 times worse because you're still alive. They didn't go out there and kill anybody. So you're worse than them now. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what happens. But evil people, they're normally two things, guys, in my opinion. Product of hurt, pain, rejection, abandonment, and or they're just entitled. There's sometimes, guys, as much as you may love your children, you must keep a balance, because if you give them everything all the time, and they are never wrong, and they don't understand, there are no consequences for doing wrong and things of that nature, and they don't have that balance of accountability, responsibility, they can grow up to become narcissists. And just depending on what their whole thinking is like and what part of the brain has been developed or fed more than the other, if they do not have the what is that called, I can't think of it, but any hoots, it's a part of your brain, that amygdala, I believe. It's for your emotions and your feelings and all of that. If that person's been saturated in themselves and it's all about them, they can literally turn out to be evil people. And why? Because they can't stand to see anyone else getting attention and praise and being happy, because it has to be them all the time. So they will do things to just ensure that they're always the one that's center stage. As I told you, in every human being, there's a certain level of maybe jealousy that you may feel. Jealousy is not a bad emotion when it's, something minor. Look, you may have a sibling and mom is always hugging and kissing that person. You're like, man, mom, you don't ever hug me like that. You may have this moment, but you're not so over the top that you're thinking of poisoning your sister or your brother, right? So jealous people can spring from either overindulgence and their need to always be number one, their need to always be the one that's picked and chosen, can cause them to really take a dark turn. But I also believe that something psychological happens. And then you have those who, they were in fact victims, they were in fact neglected. And what happens is, when there's no counsel, what happens when they're younger, they can't help this. But once you become of age, there has to be certain responsibilities and things that individual now has to do. Whatever mom and dad, uncle, grandma, family didn't do, if these individuals continue to fester on all the things that has happened, not that it is negated, not that it is not serious, but if they don't, they will develop somewhat of a mechanism within themselves where they say, this is how I protect myself. So either now, you guys used to lie on me, I will now learn to lie. You used to fight me and hit me, now I'm going to fight and hit. Whatever it may be, whatever mechanism it is, whether it's withdrawal, complete withdrawal, pulling away, or becoming passive aggressive, or being evil, in an overt, covert way, whether they're explosive with their anger and their rage, or they're implosive. They keep it in, they don't say anything, but they'll go and throw your glasses in the trash and scratch the walls of some, scratch a very important piece of artifact that you like. Uh, Throw your car keys in the garbage. People like this exist. And so, because we're in an age and a time where there's an excuse for everybody, everyone has an excuse. We're in times where people are not taking responsibilities for their actions. And even in relationships where, yeah, the other person was a jerk, you still have to look at yourself. Why did I stay with this jerk? Why did I tolerate this? Why did I not pay attention to the red flags before? Why did I do this or that? Because if you don't, you're going to be a professional victim. And then you go through your life entitled and woe is me. And then you're going to meet someone who's really nice and really kind. But guess what? You carry this burden. And now this person has to make up for the indiscretions and the infraction of someone that they've never met before. But you still hold these things. So if individuals are not careful, they can become evil because they allow themselves to feed on offenses and things that have happened. They don't want to be accountable for anything. Now, I understand if you're a kid and things happen, that's not your fault. But when you get older and you choose certain relationships and you get hurt, if you're not able to sift through these layers and discover yourself, why did I do this? If you're not able to understand that not everybody's going to like you and not everybody has to like you, even if they don't have a good reason, if you don't get to a place of doing the hard work of self-discovery and getting the help you need, whether it's self-help books, if you can go sit down and talk to a psychologist or whatever is available, get on YouTube and do the hard work and say, I'm going to do differently. I'm going to do differently from how I was done. If these individuals don't do that, they allow themselves to go to a dark place. Because when you hate, when you're always building your case, when you are compacting all these bad feelings, you're going to lash out. These individuals are going to lash out at somebody. And they begin to enjoy it. They like to see people at their mercy. They like to see people in needing them for something. They enjoy the pain. They enjoy the terror. They enjoy being able to, even if they're not doing anything directly, they'll do things indirectly. So, for example, as I said, throwing someone's medication away. Just something very important that a person needs. They will do those things, but they like to watch how everyone is reacting. You can't find your car keys. They know they have your car keys. But they like to watch you sweating and running and being late in the terror, and they may even help you look for it. And the whole time, they have it. But maybe they'll wait until you're absolutely late and go, oh, I found it. Or never give it to you. Just watch you suffer. And then, of course, we know evil can take on and even evil can be exhibited in even worse ways. Whether it's through just a burst of anger and doing something wrong, doing something you can't change it. Because why? These people always grumbling and thinking and angry and mad. And see, the anger that leads to murder has had probably years, months, decades even of practice. That person who finally commits murder is normally someone that has been having these angry outbursts, doing little things, getting in trouble with the law, going back and forth, going to juvie, going to jail. They just keep doing these little things over and over and over, and they get out and they keep doing it. This person is crooked in their ways, and so they keep behaving this way because it's the rehearsal. It's the rehearsal for the big moment where they finally do the unthinkable, or their anger leads them to someone who is even more angry. that's going to take them out. Evil leads to so many things. You could be angry, but when you're evil with it, wow, it gets bad. Everyone has a little bit of jealousy, but when you're an evil person who's jealous, it's a whole different ball of wax. It is so important to practice self-examination, self-discovery about who you are. You have to be real about yourself. But when you're in a society now that it's always someone else's fault, there's always an excuse for something, and you're not accountable. If we're in society now where a person can take out a whole group of people, and then we're going to sit in the courtrooms, and all of a sudden now the person's mental health and their childhood, and that they didn't get to go to the ball when they were in the 5th grade, all these things are actually coming into place, and people will get away with it. So that can be the breeding ground for evil, because evil is allowed to thrive. Evil is given an excuse. Evil at times can even be praised. So what do you do when you see these individuals? You pick up on them. First of all, you want to be sure. But a lot of times, a person who's evil, little by little, over time, they will do things, and it's going to get worse. And they'll show you who they are. There'll be little things that they'll do that you're going to be like, Mom, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's not what happened. But over time, they'll keep doing things. And what you have to realize is when you see things, those red flags, you're probably able to decipher and be like, maybe this was a one-off. But when you see that this person does this, because once they do, the first thing they do and they get away with it, they're going to try to do something else. They may space it out. But when it's in your face, then it's up to you to create distance, to set boundaries. Sometimes you have to cut it off. You can't give these people an opportunity to exacerbate in your life and possibly destroy you. If you are this evil person, you cannot be happy. There's no way evil people are really happy. They're not happy. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to hurt other people. And the thing that you have to understand about life is that what you do, you get it back. You may have gone through your entire life doing things and getting away with it, but you're never getting away. It's just that you're being given so many opportunities to get things right. And I'm a person who definitely believes in God. I believe in the Lord. And I honestly believe that God gives people a certain level of grace and mercy and opportunities to change. But sure enough, your actions put other things into motion. For every person you hurt and lie and do evil to, it sets in motion the repercussions that will come. And a lot of times, evil people, they're so good at being evil, it just seems like they're just living their best life. But that's not the truth. A lot of times, the repercussions and the things that's going to come to them, it normally takes a very long time, sometimes. But when it does come, that destruction, whatever it is, even fatality, it is so quick, it's so swift, it's so final. Because at that point, that individual would have had years, like people that's been doing evil, they've been doing that since they were like 12, 11 years old, and then they got in their 20s and their 30s, and they just kept on going. But eventually, there is a payout, and understand that evil, destructive individuals, the payout, while it may take a long time, their final blow, they may go in and out of jail, they bail out, they bail in, they just getting out, they keep getting away, well, everybody believes them. Guys, sit back and understand that a person's own actions is going to be the very ticket that's going to get punched in when that moment comes. Destruction, discovery, exposure. It's sudden, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt. And a lot of times, it's normally really bad, because people that do really bad and evil things, they have to get paid back. They've hurt too many people. They've hurt too many souls. They've caused too many tears. And for each person they've hurt, those people probably went through some sort of mental breakdown. They probably lost their jobs, lost their family, lost their friendships. People stopped talking to them. They didn't even know why this person broke up with them. They don't know why, because you have this evil person that's just sitting there doing all these things. And while it was never discovered that they were the one that did this, when you do wrong, there has to be repercussions and payback for the things these individuals do. So it's going to come. So what can I say? Man, people who are evil, get to the heart of it. Get to the heart of it, because believe me, repercussions will come. And evil people are so evil that they'll scoff at this and be like, it's whatever. But in that moment, their whole attitude will be very different. Because you can't do wrong and think that what's going to come is going to be nice and easy. Like, I'm just going to, pass in my sleep. No, it's probably something worse. You see. But when you discover these individuals, at first it's going to seem like it's just a normal hiccup, or but when you find yourself making so many excuses for them, you have to pay attention to that. And you have to face the fact of who they are. And be strong enough for yourself and be an advocate for yourself, that you are willing to protect yourself, your family, your future. Even if it means letting go of somebody that you love, letting go of someone you grew up with, letting go of someone that you really thought you had this connection with them, letting go of someone that you thought, oh my God, I thought they were Christian, I thought they were this, I thought they were that, they really helped me. Sometimes people can help you, but they do those things, but in fact they are actually still evil at the core. So remember what I said. Evil is, we all have some level of a narcissistic way within us. We can be selfish. We could make bad choices. We can have a bad day. But an evil person looks to hurt, take pleasure in hurting, has no empathy, have no ability to look at a situation and put themselves in someone else's shoes and say, you know what, I was wrong for that. They have no ability to reflect on anything. And that's how you're going to know the difference. Many people live a life of absolute torment. And they live this life of misery and destruction. And a lot of times it's because they keep this person, excuse me guys, they keep allowing these people around them and in their lives all the time. And the person keeps showing them over and over and over and over and over again. But they think, I'm a good person, so it means I stay here. I'm a good person, I need to keep giving them chances. Something you have to learn is, while you're kind, you must have wisdom. You must be able to have sound judgment. And you can be kind but still distance yourself to somebody, from someone. You can forgive a person but still never have the same friendship, and you can't hang out with them again. But sometimes people don't understand that, because you live in a society that when you set your standards and when you set boundaries, they say you're unforgiving. They say that you are uptight. They're going to say all kinds of things. But what you're doing is safeguarding yourself, because truly there are people who are walking around who refuse to apologize, refuse to say they're sorry, refuse to take responsibilities for their actions, refuse to deal with those inner demons, refuse to get the help that they need, and they go through life constantly taking revenge on people for something that happened to them a long time ago. Evil people exist, guys. You see them all the time. And in your mind, you may think, oh, the evil person will be the guy that has the piercings and all the tattoos and they get in trouble. You think it's that easy. But you may find that person is a lot more reasonable than the one that looks all mousy and innocent, clean cut, holding the Bible, going to church, or the little nice looking innocent lady across the street. That person could be far more. They are evil, while this person with the tattoos and all that, they just have a bad attitude, and they don't think about things sometimes. But they will never dream to actually hurt a person. Whereas the person who's wearing the three-piece suit, the person that's looking mousy and so unassuming, working in the garden, you realize they have a body under there. So guys, that's all I have. I hope this video makes some sense. It opens up your eyes. And guys, just realize these people do exist. And a lot of times you see them, but guess what? You're too busy making excuses to face the truth.